Good day, brethren. Our devotion for today is from Romans chapter 13, verses 1 to 7, and I will be reading from the English Standard Version. Romans chapter 13, verses 1 to 7. Let every person be subject to the governing authorities, for there is no authority except from God, and those that exist have been instituted by God. Therefore, whoever resists the authorities resists what God has appointed, and those who resist will incur judgment. For rulers are not a terror to good conduct, but to bad. Would you have no fear of the one who is in authority? Then do what is good, and you will receive his approval. For he is God's servant for your good. But if you do wrong, be afraid, for he does not bear the sword in vain. For he is the servant of God, an avenger who carries out God's wrath on the wrongdoer. Therefore, one must be in subjection, not only to avoid God's wrath, but also for the sake of conscience. For because of this, you also pay taxes, for the authorities are ministers of God, attending to this very thing. Pay to all what is owed to them, taxes to whom taxes are owed, revenue to whom revenue is owed, respect to whom respect is owed, honor to whom honor is owed. The statement of Apostle Paul in this passage is that we must be subject or submit to governing authorities. Another verse that looks like this one is from 1 Peter chapter 2, verse 13, which says, "Be subject for the Lord's sake to every human institution, whether it be to the emperor as supreme." Peter's statement in this verse is for the Lord's sake that we must be subject or submit to human institution. Many people today bash the government, but looking into our passage today, we must not do that kind of thing like the others do, because as says in verse 3, do what is good. Question: is bashing government leaders good? No, it's not, because it is a sign of disrespect. And as said in verse 7, we must respect them and honor them. To bash means to strike something with great force, and this has been used as a slang for hurling insults or verbally abusing an individual or a group. This is a form of disrespect and not a proper way of communicating grievances, especially for us Christians. Looking on verse 2, we must not resist the authorities, because they are instituted or appointed by God Himself. God expects us to submit to the government leaders and to the laws that they are making. The only exception to this principle is, of course, when their laws go against the laws of God. And when that happens, we must obey God rather than men. Acts chapter 5, verse 29. And since the laws that our government has are still not going against God, our job is simply to pay to all what is owed to them. Taxes to whom taxes are owed, revenue to whom revenue is owed, respect to whom respect is owed, honor to whom honor is owed, as said in Romans chapter 13, verse 7. Another verse which summarizes that is 1 Peter chapter 2, verse 17. Honor everyone, love the brotherhood, fear God, honor the emperor. The words honoring the emperor also means that we must honor our government. That is why we must not bash our government, because this action does not give honor to them. Showing honor begins with thinking the right thoughts. If we are going to look on Philippians chapter 4 verse 8, it says here, Finally, brothers, whatever is true, whatever is honorable, whatever is just, whatever is pure, whatever is lovely, whatever is commendable, if there is any excellence, if there is anything worthy of praise, think about these things. If we think of these things, right thoughts, we show honor. If we think right thoughts, we will do what is right, as written in Romans 13, verse 3. If we think right thoughts, it helps us to be more careful in our words by not influencing others to go against the government. If we are going to look on the scripture as a whole, it teaches us Christians to live our lives holy and pleasing to God as the standard in this world. If you are saying that you are a Christian, yet you are bashing the government or not submitting or showing other form of rebellion, are you saying that all people must act like this? Remember, we Christians must be the standard of this world. God said in His Word that we must submit, we show honor and respect to the government. Another job that we have to do is to pray for them. And as said in 1 Timothy chapter 2, verse 1 to 2, first of all, then I urge that supplications, prayers, intercessions, and thanksgiving be made for all people, for kings and all who are in high positions, that we may lead a peaceful and quiet life, godly and dignified in every way. Yes, we have to pray for them. That is our job. If we are bashing the government and or our leaders, are we really praying for them? Because if we are really praying for them, we are not going to bash them. If we see some flaws in their jobs, this means that we need to pray for them more. Again, our job is not to bash the government and the leaders, but rather to do what is right, honor them, love them, and pray for them.